Hello everyone! Hello, and welcome back to this workshop. My name is Savvy, and today I will teach you on how you can feminize your voice or how you can masculinize your voice. I'll be going over some of the techniques, some exercises, and some of the methodology regarding voice, so hopefully you can take something away from this and learn how to modify your voice as well. So first and foremost, I need to make some point regarding vocal health and hygiene. When it comes to voice, you always want to be hydrated at least 10 to 15 minutes before starting any voice work. That is because when you drink water, it does not go down your lungs, thankfully, but that passageway is also where the vocal folds are. So when you drink water, you don't directly hydrate the vocal folds. The hydration process will happen through the blood flow, and the blood flow will be delivering nutrients and water to hydrate the voice properly. So be sure to drink at least 10 to 15 minutes before to let your body hydrate your vocal folds. And as you do so, you can start to gently warm up your voice, do some gentle warm-ups, and we'll be doing some of those later after I'm done with the explanation. First of all, also, not first of all, second of all, you should be mindful that there's certain medications that can be drying to your voice. Of course, when I mentioned that you should keep your voice hydrated, you should also avoid doing things that can dehydrate your voice. Typically, if you take spironolactone or hay fever medication or other medication, maybe check what medications you might be taking. Those can be dehydrating to the body. Their effects is to, of course, help you in whatever way, but they also can have the side effects of dehydrating the entirety of the body, including your precious vocal folds, which are part of your voice. So be sure to keep taking that medication. Of course, you take it for a reason, but maybe work around it. Like if you take that medication in the morning, maybe don't work directly on your voice in the morning. Maybe wait for noon, the afternoon, or the evening. Typically, if I have any medication that can be dehydrating to me, I take it before sleep so that it has little to no impact on me during the day. So that's about it regarding vocal hygiene and vocal health. Now let's move on to what exactly is voice and what I am talking about when I talk about voice. So here on the board, you should be seeing, if it has loaded, a little slide describing voice as the PSF model. PSF stands for power source filter. And very simply put, we have air in our lungs that will be the characteristic of power, how much air we can deliver can power a more or less strong voice. Once that air moves up the trachea, which is this tube, it moves up right behind your Adam's apple, which is the cartilage part of your larynx. And so within it, you'll find the vocal folds, which vibrate thanks to the airflow that you provide to them. Now, once that air sets those vocal folds in vibration, they create a source sound. Ah, and then that source sound moves up and bounces around in the space that we call the vocal tract. The vocal tract is a series of tubes. We have the tube of the pharynx, which is the tube behind your mouth and nose. We have the tube of the nasal cavity, so all of your nose space, and the tube of your oral cavity, so that's just your mouth, basically. And so we can modify the size of that vocal tract. And by modifying it, we filter out more or less certain of those frequencies. So if you, for example, say ah, e, o, u, just by shaping your tongue and your lips, you create different vowel sounds. Just by changing the vowels that you're saying, you already filter out the sound produced by your vocal folds. But we take this a step further. If we modify, for example, the height of the larynx, well, the pharynx will end up becoming longer as this moves down. And so you can achieve a voice that sounds a lot darker and a lot bigger. And similarly, if you want to feminize your voice, you're going to want to raise up that larynx to achieve a smaller space that creates a much more feminine voice. And this is really the thing that's not talked about a lot when it comes to voice feminization or masculinization. We not often hear it being talked about resonance or vocal tract size. So, with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about what exactly we're trying to achieve. So I did mention the vocal tract size, I did mention the vocal folds, I did mention the airflow thanks to the air in the lungs. but I didn't mention what we're trying to do. When it comes to gender, of course, I'm not here to push your voice into the hyper feminine voice, or I'm not trying to push your voice into the hyper masculine voice. I'm instead trying to give you a suggestion as to what we perceive in terms of gender perception when it comes to voice. And the difference, the dimorphism that we get from listening a femme voice versus a masc voice is that's dichotomy created by the effects of testosterone on your voice. So testosterone does three main things when it affects you and during your puberty. If testosterone affects you in the first place, it will drop your larynx. So your Adam's apple is going to move down. By moving down, it creates a much more bigger, hollow, cavernous sound. Then the second thing that happens is the vocal folds grow longer, and by growing longer, they can now vibrate a lot slower. And as they vibrate a lot slower, we achieve much lower pitches. And the third thing that testosterone does to your voice is just like in the rest of your body, it increases muscle growth. So as it does, we get much thicker, more powerful voices. And this is how you go from a really femme voice to a really masc voice, by mimicking the effects of testosterone that you otherwise wouldn't have. In my case, I was affected by testosterone, so I have an unfair advantage to someone who wants to masculinize a voice that has not had testosterone exposure, of course. But with practice and behavior retraining, we can achieve quite a lot of things. And for femme voice users, we want to basically be aware of how much of these three components are apparent in our voices and reverse them accordingly to our needs. So, with that being said, let's do some vocal warm-up. Y'all can unmute yourselves for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little warm-up sound. Then I count to 3, then we all do this together. Sounds good? Let's start. I'm going to start with an O sound. I go first. Oh. And we can all go in 3, 2, 1. Very good. Now we're going to try a Z sound, as in the word zoo. I go first. And we all go in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. You're doing this great. Now let's do a last one. I'm going to do a lip trill. Lip trill is when you have your lips buzzing and bubbling, like this sound. I'm going to go first, and then you can mimic. Let's all try this together in 3, 2, 1. And stop. There you go. Good job. Now, please mute your mics again, and we'll be moving to the next section of the workshop. So for those who are new, shush alarm. So for those of you who are new, the way I do the rest of the workshop is I get up on stage 4 people, 2 who want to masculinize their voices, and 2 who want to feminize their voices. So we haven't seen a lot of masc voice users in the last few workshops, so I'm going to start with masc voice today. If you want to make your voice sound more masculine, jump in place, raise your hand, or use the hand emoji. All right. Anyone interested in making their voices more masculine? Aliboo, yes? You've not been on stage before, have you?
No.
All right, then come up on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to Aliboo! Woo! Hello, welcome. Oh, you can be on either side. Okay, so, let me keep track of time and start a little timer. There we go. All right, Aliboo, first time in one of these workshops? First time on stage, perhaps?
Yes, it's first time doing one of the workshops too.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Are you familiar with terms such as vocal tract size, such as vocal fold mass, or terms such as pitch in general?
Only the pitch one. The rest, not really.
Okay, so as I'd mentioned before, we can achieve a really masc voice by mimicking the effects of testosterone in your voice, because that is generally what we hear as being the gender perception qualities that shift from one voice to another. So if you want to achieve a masc voice, you're going to want to do three things. First, make your really small vocal tract, basically like your mouth is really small, your vocal tract might be smaller because you haven't had the testosterone to grow these spaces. But you're familiar with yawning, for example. When you yawn, even with a femme voice, you can achieve some amount of darkness, right? As your Adam's apple drops. And as it drops, you can achieve a bigger space, and thus you can start playing around with that. So we'll be doing that in a little bit. The second thing, of course, is pitch. If you talk with a really big voice, with a really big vocal tract size, but at a really high pitch, you're probably just going to sound like Mickey Mouse, right? So we're going to eventually want to go somewhat low in pitch. Don't worry, your baseline voice is already much lower than Mickey Mouse. You have nothing to worry about. And the third thing is, if we can, we're going to try to increase the vocal folds mass. Quite literally, we're trying to flex the muscles of the vocal folds more. Yeah, we increase the mass. We're not doing some forbidden alchemy here. We just can't create mass out of nowhere. So when I say mass, I'm really mentioning or referring to how we can flex those muscles more or less in our voice to really simplify it down. Okay, so let's give this a try. First of all, I want to hear a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch. Can you give this a try?
Oh God, like what you just did?
Like I just did, or whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter. It's your slide.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. So from my lowest to my highest. Okay. So I can go. Okay. Oh my God, this is difficult.
It's okay. You want to try like do a call and response thing? Like I go, you go, kind of like this.
Maybe,
so you're not alone in this. Yeah, let's try this. Okay. Can you mimic this pitch? Oh.
Oh.
Nice. Oh.
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 Awesome. And from here, what pitch do we have here? Oh, it's an F sharp 3. Okay, let's try and see how low we can go from here. And now, oh.
Okay, it's gonna be a bit more difficult. Okay.
You might not get the same.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about as low.
Okay, that was a D3. That's actually really good. Pretty low. Awesome. Can you try and hold that down pitch, that low pitch? Oh, for as long as you can.
Okay. Oh my God.
Nice. Hey, that was D sharp 3. D sharp 3, D3. Oh, just the way you say oh, it's already like quite low. That's awesome. All right. So, first of all, this is a low pitch, right? This is what I would consider a low pitch for a femme voice, but I was also consider this to be like medium range pitch for a masc voice, right? Oh, this pitch here, oh, can both sound really masculine or you sound really feminine, depending on how you shape the filter, depending on how big the size of the vocal tract is. So let's try and just do just that. Oh, I want you to repeat after me. We're gonna do a whisper. So do you know how to whisper? Like, hey, hello,
yes.
hi. Can you try to whisper? Yeah,
yes.
You did great. And as you might notice, your whisper is quite bright. Like you get this, hi, hello, yeah, I whisper. It's quite bright. So now I want you to say, pat that cat on that bright whisper. Something like, pat that cat.
Oh God. Wait.
Did it not come through?
No, wait.
Oh, take it.
Can you try again? Wait,
of course.
like
just whisper, pat that cat. Like you pat a cat. Pat that cat. Yeah.
Okay, like pat that cat.
Awesome. As you might notice, yours is very breathy. So, yours is very whispery. No, yours is very bright. Excuse me. I'm a bit tired. So, pat that cat. So, like, you have a really small vocal tract, right? Like, your throat is quite small. it's kind of where your voice kind of like stays around at. And now we're going to try and make that pat, that cat sound darker. So what's this going to cause is a drop of your Adam's apple. So it's going to drop lower, which will eventually end up lengthening the larynx. Lengthening the pharynx. Woo, that's a hard day today. So lengthening the pharynx by dropping the larynx. I know it's a lot of inks terms, so it's not easy. You drop the Adam's apple, then you get a bigger tube. How's that? Yeah, that works. Okay. And so now we do pat that cat. And we're going to repeat pat and try to make it sound darker. So from pat down to pot. We can do a few steps. Pat, 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 pot. Give it a try.
Okay, I will try. Okay. Okay. Pat. Oh my god, no. I start talking.
Let's do call and response. Pats.
Pats.
Pat, pat, pat.
Pat.
Very good. Let's keep the trend down. Pat. Not as much amplitude as me, but you're still going darker. And now hold that dark one that you had. Pat. And try to hold that S sound here. Pat. Nice, very good. Okay, so the sound did cut off a bit. Can you quickly go to your sound settings on the vrchat and make sure that the noise suppression is turned off under the microphone? Shush. Okay, under the microphone settings. Is it disabled?
Off. Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. So now, pat.
Pat.
Yeah, awesome. Now compare those two. Pat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see how much bigger the size is? You also can do this where you put your hand on your neck and just try and feel for the bump on your neck. You might have a more or less prominent Adam's apple, right? The Adam's apple, I know it's called Adam's. It's not specifically just for testosterone affected individuals. But what you feel is the cartilage part of the larynx, right? And so it can be more or less prominent. It could be somewhat hidden in your neck. So maybe you want to like try and find it. And so as you do a really bright pat, you might notice it's like in a medium or high position. And if you do a really big, dark pat, you might achieve a much bigger, darker position.
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome. And now that you have found this darker pat, let's try this again. Pat, pat.
Okay. Pat, pat. Oh my god, no, stop talking.
It's okay. Try it again.
Okay.
Awesome, very good. And now what I want you to do is to bridge that dark whisper into a voice. Remember we did D2 last as a pitch. Oh, it was like around here, right? So let's just say pat that cat on this pitch first. Pat that cat.
Okay, so in the low one, right?
Just how you say it. Pat that cat in your current voice. Yeah.
Yes. Pat that cat.
Right? So yours still sounds pat that cat. It's quite bright. Now we're going to say pat that cat dark. Pa, 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 pa. We're going to keep that dark position and go back to the pitch. Pa, pat that cat. Give it a try.
Okay. Wait, can you repeat that? I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Call and response. Pat.
Yes. Pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
Good. And now.
Pat.
All right, careful here. Pat. but it kind of went brighter, right?
Yeah.
This is where you can use your hand on your neck and feel for if it shoots back up, right? So the way we're bridging from that whisper into a full voice is by doing a gradient of vocal fold closure, right? So, oh, my hand is doing funny things. There we go. So if you're doing a whisper, right, your vocal folds are fully open, generally speaking. And so as you go from the whisper to a balanced sound, you close the vocal folds more and you allow them to start to vibrate, right? This is how we both speak. The vocal folds vibrate, that's just normal. But when we whisper, they don't, right? So
there's this breathy phase.
that's a mix between whisper and balanced.
Balanced. Whisper.
And the part in between has both the whisper and the balanced part. So you want to find that breathy sound and then bridge into balanced. So you always listen for the whisper. If the whisper at any point does, yeah, as you noticed, it goes back to a smaller space as the sound goes brighter. So we want to keep that whisper really dark.
Pat that cat.
Do you want to give it another try?
Yes. Okay.
All right. Now you know the drill. Start bright, small pat, pat. Find a big pat,
Pat.
You can use your hand to track the larynx. And once you have that big pat, just close the vocal folds without letting your Adam's apple move back up. Give it a try.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so pat, pat, pat. Hold on. It's difficult. Pat,
It takes
pat,
time.
pat, pat. Oh my god.
All right.
Yeah, dark. Yeah. Pat that cat. Try to speak a bit with that dark whisper. Kind of like get used to it. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Pat, pat, pat that cat.
Okay, this is still a bit bright.
Pat that cat.
No, that one's good.
That one's good.
Pat
Yes.
that cat.
And then here, this is where you want to start thinking. Yeah, like that.
Pat that cat. Just like that. Like it's starting to sound hollow, kind of dopey. Like it's giving like kind of like Surfer Road vibes. Like, yo, let's ride the wave, dude. Pat that cat.
Yeah, that's you getting it. Yeah. Okay, careful here.
Pat that.
Cat. It moved brighter at the end, but there
goes
you go.
back. Oh, yeah.
That's it. He goes back up, but you can sustain it there
And then like just kind of like keep talking down here.
and make that your new habit for masc voice.
Okay.
Okay, so you have the
yeah.
baseline, you have the basics, you got this in under 10 minutes, so good job. Now all you need to do is keep practicing it, play around with it, and see how well you can sustain it. All right, what an amazing little crow you were. You did really well. All right,
Thank you.
everyone give a big round of applause to Alibu. You killed it. Woo! I feel like you're a bird, your beak would clack or something.
Oh, yeah, like that.
All right. Awesome. All right. Next up on stage, I'll have someone who wants to feminize their voices. If you want to feminize your voice, jump in place, raise your hand. All right. Lesbit Detective, you are faster. Have you already been on stage before?
I have not. This is my first time being at a class here.
All right. Hop on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to Lesbit Detective. Woo! As a lesbian detective, how lesbian can you detect I am?
It's more. I'll just say I'm better at detecting it in myself than in others.
That's very fair. All right. So first time here in one of these workshops. How familiar are you with terms such as vocal tract size, darkness, brightness? How familiar are you with high pitch, low pitch, or vocal weight?
I'm decently familiar, more so now after what I've already seen, but I used to be a professional voice actor, so I'm already decently familiar.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Hell yeah. What voice can you already do?
See, now you're putting me on the spot here.
I know. But I'm sorry. Maybe
Like a Carmen voice or
a Stutch voice, perhaps, or a Callum voice. Like there's a bunch of voices you can do, and if you can do some of these, there is a great chance that some of these voices can be a good baseline for you to work your femme voice out of. But I already hear something happening with your voice. If you want to feminize it, I dare presume that you started with a masc voice. Am I correct?
I did indeed. I have been on
hear a little
estrogen
to
for about
nothing.
3 years, so
Oh my god,
that might be
awesome.
it.
Estrogen does not really change the vocal. Okay, estrogen changes one thing slightly. Because you are no longer exposed to testosterone, your muscles shrink all across your body. And because voice has the vocal fold mass component, basically how much muscle is involved in the vocal process, you might find doing really thick, buzzy voices harder than before. You might find doing softer voices easier now over time. But that's only after a long period of time, and we generally don't lose that much vocal fold mass. It's something that generally happens from behavior. But anyways, I'm hearing a pretty strong baseline here, so I'm just going to ask you, what do you dislike, or rather, what would you change about your voice?
It's hard to say in exact terms. I just want to sound more, femme, like we're doing. A lot of people still mistake me for masc, even though my pronouns are here and everything. So
Of course.
it mostly
All
just to avoid that happening as much as possible.
All right. So, if I mimic your voice here, avoid this like as much as possible. Like what you're giving me in terms of voice vibes is like one of a lower femme voice, right? Like we are like generally around the pitches of da 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 da. We're like around D3, C3, and maybe a little bit lower. I might have heard a bit of B2 in there, right? Lower femme voices are generally harder to master because the lower you go in pitch, the more likely you are to trigger old behaviors from your mask voice. As I said before, I didn't say that before, so you're new. There's overlap in terms of ranges. So typically, a mask voice can go quite high in terms of pitch, right?
Like if I speak up here, like here, I went like all the way up here, but like it still sounds masculine, right? And similarly,
If I go like down here in pitch, right? That's a C3, but that's still a femme voice, correct? So your voice is generally around that range. But I think your voice still sustains a bit too much of that vocal weight. You have a bit more buzz. So your voice sounds a little bit louder and a little bit more confident at those lower pitches. This tends to be less common. I mean, you're a voice actress. So, I mean, you kind of don't really care about these things, but I do understand wanting to pass more across more normie people that don't really dabble in funny, fun voices. So what I'm thinking is there's two solutions to your problem. When we look at feminine voices, we want to have really bright voices with really small vocal tracts. But that's already kind of what I'm hearing in your voice. We want generally higher pitches. Your pitch is quite low, so we can try raising it a little bit, maybe trying to go for higher pitch ranges. And we want to reduce the vocal weight. That's maybe the one that you might not have worked on too much. And this is the one that allows you to keep the same pitch range you're speaking at, right? So you could go from basically like this lower femme voice that sounds a little bit thick to exactly that same femme voice, but that sounds a bit softer and kind of showcases, hey, my voice didn't have as much testosterone, so my voice is just softer, right? And generally lower voices like that are more uncommon. So do know that whatever you do, even if you sound the most femme at these low pitches, people will still be like, I don't know. I expect everyone to sound like an anime girl from an anime. So yeah, the pain of that. So anyways, if that's your objective, and if it's anyone's objectives, that's not a problem. But do know that aiming for like anime girl voice, you're aiming for someone who has voice acted their entire life and has started without testosterone in their body. So it's kind of like double the work, right? You got to feminize your voice plus do voice acting on top of the femme voice if you wanted to sound like that. Okay, so just debunking the myths so people just know. Anyways, so you can change your voice. Let's go back to some text for us to practice with. How about you read that first sentence for me, just currently in your femme voice?
All right, let me look up here because it's easier to see on the screen.
Yep, sure thing.
Okay. That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Awesome. That mad rat sat on that flat mat. That mad rat sat on that flat mat. And he kind of drops at the end. Here, you actually brought your pitch up. Maybe because you're reading and you're maybe like more said like, okay, now I'm doing voice work, so I'm going to higher pitches. This is not how you sound like when you speak, right? You kind of like speak more chill, more like lower in an idle pitch, right? And maybe other sentences could do the job better. Has this slide loaded for you?
Yes.
Awesome. Can you read just that first sentence for me?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
All right. Hello, good morning. How are you? Right? So all of it is really good, but as you finish sentence, hello, good morning. How are you? These low pitches kind of sound off, right? Like you have all of this wide range. Hello, good morning. And then you ning, right? I would expect something more like, hello, good morning. How are you? Right? Where like you drop less in pitch. By dropping less in pitch, you make the voice a bit more coherent and you avoid those lower pitches that can sound a bit heavier. I mean, they can sound softer, but in your case, they showcase a bit too much vocal fold mass. So let's try this together. I want you to mimic after me. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Very good. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
And down now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Very good. Now we're more aware of the pitch vector, how it moves up and down. And now we're going to go back to a normal one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Give it a try.
Hello, good morning.
Very good. Careful here in the first one. Hello. We did end up quite low down to, an E3. Not bad, but careful to keep that E3 really soft. Hello. Try instead. Hello. Really soft at the end. Try it out.
Hello.
That's already much better. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Right. Very good. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Awesome. Try the next sentence like this. No guidance, just you being aware of the lower pitches and making them softer when you reach them.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
Ooh, I love that. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Super musical. Love it. Awesome. Next sentence.
I forgot to take my hormones. one
Okay. I forgot to take my hormones. Ho, 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 ho. Here, you
Yeah,
might
I
have ended up
noticed
a
that too.
bit darker. So here's where we can make your voice a bit brighter, right? So you might have achieved a bigger space by dropping to a lower pitch. Again, we have a tendency to take on old behaviors of those old pitches we know. So here we can take the word hormone and just say ho and brighten that on the whisper. Hormone. Try it out.
Hormone.
Very good. Hormone. And we're still at this low pitch. Hormone. Oh, the pitch is it's F for you. It's not low, but you can go so high in pitch, so it's kind of low for you. Hormone, right? So now you can have, I forgot to take my hormones.
I forgot to take my hormones.
That's much better. Careful now, it's on the mo sound. Mo. So now, that's delicious. Really small and bright. If you can do it at lower pitches, that's even better because we kind of are at lower pitches towards the end of the sentence. Hormones. Try it out.
Hormones.
Awesome, very good. Now you went from hormones to hormones. Same exact pitch movement, but what a different voice. And now the whole sentence, I forgot to take my hormones. Try it out.
I forgot to take my hormones.
That's very good. Awesome, you got it. All right, can you read the next few sentences?
Are you really sure about that?
That sounds great. Are you really sure about that? Super melodical. Didn't go for too low of a pitch. I love that. Try next sentence.
I think I have a craving for pickles.
I think I have a craving for pickles. Maybe that last one is a bit low.
Again.
Either we can do pickles, so we go low but not as low, because you went pickles. We could go pickles. pickles, for example. Craving for pickles, right?
Goals.
Right? So we can try a higher pitch, or we can go for that low pitch. Pickles, but make that brighter.
Co.
Pickles. Small space, but low pitch. Give it a try.
Pickles.
Yeah, pickles. That's much better, right? Awesome. I think I have a craving for pickles. Try it again.
I think I have a craving for pickles.
That's
Try
very
it.
good. That's better. Like we had pickles, and now we have pickles, right? And with practice, you can even make that sound like pickles, like really bright, really small, right? So this is kind of like takeaway. Either you avoid those low pitches altogether, and you end up not having that issue at all. But you might want to make your voice softer overall, especially for those lower pitches. If you have one takeaway is make your voice softer for those lower pitches, because when you have a voice that's too heavy at low pitches, you're kind of telling the person you're speaking to, hey, I have really beefy vocal folds that can do really loud sounds at pitches that most feminine voices are not expected to sound like this. So this is kind of the takeaway. It's a bit sad. This is why I'm like talking to you like this, because you're a voice actress and you know how bad it feels, but like sometimes it feels like fitting to a certain gender norm means narrowing the range a little bit. But that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, there is possibilities, just like I said, to achieve really low voices. Think maybe of like the Baldur's Gate narrator. You open a door. Right in front of you, these stones crackle open. Like a very low voice, but it still sounds super fem, even though the pitches are extremely low for most feminine voices, right? The narrator voice, right? And so it's very much possible, but keep in mind to make your voice very soft and very bright. That brightness you can do by brightening the sound. Generally take your whisper like pickles, 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 pickles. And if you do this, you can also feel your Adam's apple move up, achieve its smaller space, and that smaller space you want to sustain to achieve a brighter sound. Okay? So main takeaway, soften your voice, especially at low pitches. Make sure you keep your voice bright at those low pitches. Use the whispers to tune your voice back to bright. And other than that, you have a really solid baseline. You could also like rework your intonations a bit, because right now you use a lot of your low pitches, but you seem to have a really wide range, so you can still use that, especially if you feel limited in your range. I bet you like to be an expressive person, so you might very much enjoy using those higher pitches because it's available, so why not use it?
Thank you so much. That's
You're very welcome.
really helpful already.
Awesome. I'm really glad you did find that helpful. Everyone give a big round of applause to Less But Active! Woo! Of course. All right. You have a great one. Hope to see you around.
You too. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Next up on stage, I want to see someone who wants to make their voices sound a lot more masculine. Want to sound beefier? Want to sound more masc? Raise your hand, jump in space, or use the hand emoji. Anyone interested in making their voices more masc? Oh, maybe here. Nova Kai. Have you ever been on stage before?
No.
All right, come up on stage. Come on, come on. All right, everyone give a big round of applause to Nova Kai. Woo! What a colorful fish you are. Hello, welcome. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. All right, so first time in one of these workshops, or?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Wow, we only have new people today. That's amazing. All right, welcome. Have you done any voice work before? Are you familiar with the methodology, or do you need a little bit of a rundown to just be on the same page?
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't tried it before.
All right, let's try it together. First of all, I want you to give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch, whatever feels most comfortable for you to do. Give it a try.
Oh.
Ooh,
what's the pitch here? That's pretty low. Wait. Oh, D sharp 3. Very good. And you even made your voice darker and bigger. Very good. So you already seem to be making that vocal tract space much bigger. That's awesome. Okay, what happens if you
try to stay at that low pitch and speak with it like, oh, pat that cat.
Can you try it out?
Oh, pat that cat.
Oh, pat that cat. So your voice is already very hollow. That's very good. Can you try this? Pat that cat. Da da da. Pat that cat.
Pat the cat.
Da da da. Very good. Awesome.
Can you read that first sentence?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Hello, good morning, how are you?
Hello, good morning, how are you? Okay, now you sound a little bit brighter. So let's try to play a bit around with your vocal tract size and see how dark we can make your voice. Let's go back to this slide. All right, awesome. And now I want you to mimic right after me. Let's do kind of call and response. All right, let's try this. Pat, pat, cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Pat, pat.
Pat, 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 pat that cat.
Pat, 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 pat that cat.
Okay. Pat, 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 pat that cat. Careful, your voice got engaged again. Pat, 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 pat.
Pat that cat.
Try it again.
Pat, 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 pat that cat.
Oh, careful, you're engaging the voice here. You're using it. Pa, 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 pa. Okay, maybe you went a little bit too fast here. Okay, call and response again. Let's just do bright pat. Just a breath of it. All right, and now we're going to take just the ah sound and make that darker. So, that one's really good.
And you can just say, pat.
Awesome. Now compare those two. Pat and
Pat.
try it back and forth.
Pat, pat.
That's very solid. Awesome. And now from here, can you say
Pat that cat.
still just in a whisper?
Pat that cat.
Very good. Now you're getting a bit more used to speaking, or rather here whispering, with that bigger vocal tract.
Pat that cat.
Awesome. Now I want you to say, that's mad brat, on a whisper. So still with that really big size.
That's mad brat.
Give it a try.
Pat, pat, rat.
All right, very good.
Pat that mad brat.
And now read the whole sentence.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That's very good. And now we can finally go to speaking, now that you're more familiar with this whispery sound, okay? So now let's try this.
That mad brat.
Give it a try.
Pat, pat the cat.
Okay, pat that cat. It's like, now you're noticing you have this really yawny quality. That's very good. That's what I want. And now can you read the sentence like this? That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Careful here.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. You kind of ended up, like going a bit brighter from to right? So it's still dark, much darker than the voice you started with when you came first on stage, but it shifts slowly brighter. It goes back up, right? Your larynx moves back up a little bit. So be careful not to let that go up. Let's try this again. Big size. You can track your Adam's apple of your hand if you want. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try to keep it really low.
Give it a try.
That That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
All right, very good. That's solid. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Can you try the next sentence just like that?
The crowbar opened the subpar car.
The crowbar opened the subpar car.
Okay, that's very good, but we went quite high in pitch. Let's try a little bit lower.
Mimic after me. Still in this really hollow, big size?
The crowbar, the crowbar, the crowbar.
Try it out.
The crowbar, the crowbar, the crowbar.
Okay, careful. You went really bright at the start. The crowbar. I wanted to hear a really big size too.
The crowbar.
The crowbar.
Ah, we shifted a bit lower in pitch. So see, another thing that you want to be careful with here, and this is for like future practice as well, is whenever you go back up in pitch, your voice tends to go back to its old habits of going for a smaller vocal tract size, right? We notice this on the crowbar. The crowbar.
The crowbar, the crowbar.
So you seem to have a natural tendency to make your voice darker with lower pitches, which is good because you generally want to be speaking more at lower pitches if you want to masculinize your voice. But as you go higher in pitch, you might want to,
Like, speak with a masc voice and maybe move up in pitch.
without doing move up in pitch, right? You don't want your voice to shift all across the place just because you go up in pitch, right? So you want to be careful as you go up higher in pitch to keep your voice really dark. This can take a bit of practice, decoupling pitch from darkness. So decoupling the speed of vibration of your vocal folds, so pitch, from how low or how high your Adam's apple is. What I can recommend is maybe like practicing with yawning. Generally, when we yawn, we tend to like yawn at higher pitches, but with a bigger vocal tract, like. And so you can like get an experience of those higher pitches that sound really dark, or you can try to mimic Mickey Mouse voice, like hello, oh. Like Mickey Mouse has a really big vocal tract with high pitches. Of course, you don't want to sound like Mickey Mouse, but it can help you get a bit of a grasp of that experience of those higher pitches that sound really big and really dark, right? So that's something you can try. Now let's go back to our practice. Let's go back to that mad brat. And I want you to go as dark and as low in pitch as you can.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Da da da. We can go a bit lower. Da da da. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
That mad brat. That mad brat. That mad brat.
That mad brat. That mad brat. That mad brat.
That was an awesome catch. I want to say that mad. No.
That mad brat.
That was really good. You shifted your voice darker on exactly the same pitch. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
This is an extremely important skill. Maybe you feel like it was a fluke, but with practice, this can become very reliable of a tool, right? That was awesome. Because right now here, I'm helping you with your voice. But at the end of the day, you're going to be practicing on your own without anyone watching or without me listening. And so it's important that you start building those critical skills, that you hear this and shift your voice darker. That was super awesome. You did great. And now,
As we go for that lower pitch, that.
I want you just to say the word that, and you're going to try to go as low as you can.
That.
Maybe not as low as me, but as low as you can. Give it a try.
That.
Awesome. Can you keep talking here? That mad brat sat on that flat mat like a robot. Beep boop.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. It's very good.
And now, one last thing we're going to do, and then I promise I free you from this stage prison.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
I'm going to try to make your voice slightly heavier. Think like you're forcing your muscle, like you're trying to lift your desk or you're trying to push a wall that doesn't move. It's going to be very heavy, right? It engages the vocal muscles a lot more. But you want to try and do this and bring that heavy sound low in pitch.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat and really helps with that masculine component of voice. Right? Trying to get your voice to be a bit thicker and a bit buzzy. Do you want to give that a try?
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That's very good. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. That already sounds a lot heavier than that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Okay, very good. So this is kind of where, like, I have an advantage because testosterone did plague or benefits to my voice, depending on how you want to see it. That mad brat. So I have a much wider range of expression when it comes to heavier voices. Also, I played a lot with like voice acting and beatboxing, so I'm fairly familiar with really thick voices to do like funny robot voices. So like this might take a bit of practice, and this might be the more complex thing. But with practice, you can achieve a heavier weight. So I'm really positively surprised at how your voice generally goes very dark at lower pitches, okay? But you still seem to track your pitch with your brightness and darkness. So be sure that as you go for higher pitches, you try to do it darker. Think like Mickey Mouse voice. And overall, try to make your voice sound a bit buzzier, more strong, more loud, more heavy, right? Because that heaviness is a clear tell of an increase in vocal weight, an increase in, well, how much muscle is used in your voice, and that can read very masculine. Even at higher pitches, it does make your voice sound more masc. Like, maybe like this is kind of like a little nerd voice or whatever, or I don't know exactly. But if you can take that quality and take that down lower in pitch, and eventually maybe soften it up a bit, if you achieve a bigger vocal tract, the bigger size is going to drown out most of that buzziness, but give your voice a very heavy dimension to it. Okay? So these are the little tips I have for you. I hope this helps you out on the long run. Yeah, any questions?
No.
All right, awesome. Well, you did really well for a very first session. Just make sure to keep practicing, record your voice, listen back to it, the feedback loop, that's really important. And you already seem to have some good control of your voice, like you shifted your voice from really bright suddenly to really dark when you noticed it. So that's really important, and that's a really cool skill to have that early on. So be sure to hone that skill, and I'm sure in no time you're going to get the voice that you desire. All right? Everyone give a big round of applause to Nova Kai! Woo! Clapping by jumping. All right. Hope to see you around, Nova. Best of luck with your voice journey. All right. Next up on stage, and last person up on stage, someone who wants to feminize their voices. Who might be interested? All right. Typo dear, have you been on stage before? All right, hop on stage.
Nope.
Come on, come on. Oh, maybe more to say. Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
I'm
Everyone give a
using
big
my
round of applause to Typo
secondary
dear. It's all right. Woo! Welcome, Typo dear. Hi,
Hello.
Typo dear, dear
Dear,
Typo,
yeah.
welcome. So, let me start a timer. Let's go. So, first time I want to rewind. All right. First time in one of these workshops.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Familiar with some of these terminology, methodology?
Unfortunately, no, but I kind of just have a hobby of beatboxing and doing funny voices.
No way.
So
You
I know
beatbox?
that. Yeah. Just.
No way.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We gotta be on time for One Piece and Rory's sake. So, all right. I said start a timer. We can discuss beatboxing later if you want. But for now, let's just talk about fem voice. So you want to feminize your voice, right? Have you already done some voice work on your own? Maybe you have a voice in progress, or not at all?
Not really much at all. I've looked into it a little bit, but wouldn't say I'm much of an expert in the higher ranges.
All right, that's fair. Talking about higher ranges, I want to hear you do a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch. Can you give that a try?
Mm-hmm. Up here. That's about it.
All right.
You know,
Up here. That's about it. Okay, so where are we here?
up here.
Nah, I heard you got to be free. What happens if you go higher? Does your voice break like, or does it
Yeah.
not even go there? All right, let it break. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's where it breaks.
Okay. Oh no.
That's way too high. Yeah.
Given how much weight you put behind that, I'm not surprised it broke. G4. Okay. We can work on maybe making that part of your voice also part of your fem voice, but that's maybe for a later process, later time. So let's do just like we did with the others up on stage. We're gonna do the whispers, the pat that cat. Yes, we pat them cats. So give me a dark whisper. Pat that cat. Like your Darth Vader. Pat that cat. Awesome. Very good. Yes. Okay, and now we're going to take that pat and make it brighter. Pat, 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 cats. Pat, 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 cat. Very good. So, as you might have noticed, your voice got pretty dry there. And you kind of started kind of coughing on this. That's because you did it like this. You made it really breathy. Well, not breathy, but you pushed a lot of air. When you push air through your throat and do a whisper, and this is for everyone who practice whispers when they want to tune their voices brighter or darker, when you do whispers, your vocal folds are in the way. That's how you hear the sound in the first place. Otherwise, you would just be silence, right? Just a silent breath out. And so when you do whispers, be reminded that it does dry up your voice. So for your best practice, do try to make those whispers as soft and as gentle as possible. This will help you achieve, first of all, a softer voice at the end, because if you start, you're going to get pat that cat, probably a quite strained voice due to how much air you were using. Or maybe just a pat that cat, a really thick voice. So now we're going to want to try instead to do really gentle like a very gentle burst of air. Straight out.
Pat.
You still use a lot of air, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Pat. It's very common with masc voices when you start. So typically,
if I talk down here, right, you might hear my voice is quite buzzy and abrasive. It's very strong. But that strong, or rather that strength, comes from my vocals being very closed and really thick, right? Because they're so thick, they get into motion thanks to an increased amount of airflow, right? So my vocals are really thick and I push a lot of air to make them vibrate. If I didn't, then my voice just wouldn't work. I would get like just really closed and pressed vocal folds, but they wouldn't work. The only way I can make this work with less air is by softening my voice. Now I have a masc voice, but one that uses a very low vocal fold mass. It's a very soft, gentle masc voice. One could call this an ASMR masc voice, perhaps. So like that softer sound we can use, and we want to shift that higher in pitch, and eventually go for maybe smaller space, and we achieve a fem voice. And so this is where the control of your airflow is paramount. Actually, you're a beatboxer. So if you... I can go forever like this. That's because there is good technique of me... Well, as you know, on the K snare, we tend to breathe in air, right? So it's kind of like this circular breathing. If you just beatbox by breathing out all the time, you want to run out of air at some point. So I'm not asking anyone to do circular breathing here for fem voice, but the management of the air is really important. You can push more or less air. In beatboxing, you tend to have much more powerful bursts of air. That's how you sound loud and strong, right? But you want to actually make it so that it's much softer. Yeah, that's a very cute beatbox.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can practice this if you ever, I don't know, I did that a lot because I was learning to beatbox and I was in the bus and I didn't want to bother anyone, so I was like, it's like beatbox ASMR. Exactly. So that same strength of air, but applied to voice on a steady flow of air. So imagine like a big expel of air. Try it. All of your air at once. All right. Then make that twice as long. All right. I trust you did it, and it probably cut you off.
Yeah, I did.
Right. And now you might make that twice as long again. Okay. Shush. Okay. All right, very good. I saw by the movement that you did it, right?
Yeah.
It gets more tricky, right? Maybe you feel like you were at the end of your lungs because you maybe still breathe out air too fast. So the lower the airflow, the slower it is. So you want to reach a point where you can breathe out and it almost sounds completely silent, okay? So you would go from a pot, 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 pot to a pot, 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 pot. Very slow, gentle airflow. I want you to go ahead into your mic settings and make sure noise suppression is disabled so we can hear every little breath you make. Under the quick menu, under the sound settings, under microphone,
Yes.
disable noise suppression.
There it is. Sorry if it's like a little fanny.
It's okay. I barely hear anything. Don't you worry.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
give that really gentle pat that cat. So, dark pat. Pat. Good. And then let's go bright. Pat. 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 Pat.
Pat. Pat.
All right. Pat, pat, pat. Very good. Awesome. And then can you say pat, pat, cat.
Pat. Pat.
Awesome. So now you have pat, pat, cat. As opposed to the pat, pat, cat. You can take your hand, put it on your neck, and feel for the bump there. Do you find it? That's the Adam's apple. It's the cartilage part of your larynx. So if you give me a really dark pat, still with your hand there, pat, you should feel it go all the way down.
Yep.
Awesome. And now as you go step by step up, it should move up. That's very good. Now, this is kind of weird. Maybe it makes you feel squeamish because what the heck is this why is this happening,
Yeah.
right? So you find that high position, pat, pat, cat. And then you want to bridge from that whisper into a full voice. So let's go for pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat. Pat that
Yes.
cat.
That sounds awesome. And now from here, let's say that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
That is night and day. Do you realize what you just did? That mad rat on that flat mat,
Compared to like whatever mask voice you had.
night and day, right? That's it. Sounds a bit of robotish. I mean, you have a robot avatar, so it kind of works. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah. So then from here, that mad rat sat on that flat mat, we're going to try and move the pitch around. Try to go up. That mad rat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Awesome. And let's go down.
Yeah.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
That just sounds straight up like a femme voice, except for like the little pitch at the end. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. But focus on the 90%. That was really solid. And now try to say it like maybe with more meaning. Group of words. That mad brat, word, action. What is the action about on that flat mat? That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try it out.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
That sounded great. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. But just the end of your voice like dropped Probably because you're still used to, like,
Starting your sentences high and eventually ending them on the lowest pitch.
right? That's very common in masc voices. So that's a behavior for you to untrain. But oh my God, for someone who never did voice work, that is such a solid statement of what you can do with your voice, right? Maybe it's the beatboxing part. Everyone start beatboxing. No, but more seriously, like, you seem to have a very good affinity for mimicking and mimicry. So I would definitely say do rely on this more. All you have to do now is practice your voice, use it around, and yeah, get better with it. Just become more familiar with keeping that Adam's apple high up. That's my brat, that's my. Like, that was really good. That was just a femme voice. You got it, dear. So there you go.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You killed it. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Dear. Woo!
Thank you.
All right, awesome. And with that, we conclude today's workshop. What an amazing session. Everyone did so well today. That was great. So, 1B, Rory, thank you so much for making up with me ending up so late. But do we have any questions from the Twitch stream or from the Discord chat? No Twitch question, no Discord questions at all? Okay, awesome. All right, what time is it? Okay, it's still a bit early. I will take 2 questions from the audience, and then I'll be wrapping up. Does anyone have a question they want to ask? Please raise your hand if you do have a questions regarding voice. Anyone? Or jump in place? Oh, yes, Protopyro, please go closer so everyone can hear you.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
how do I control the nasally part of my voice? Is that a thing that
This-
you can answer quickly?
Absolutely. This depends, right? Because I'm a French speaker, so I do know sounds such as They're very present. You are an English speaker. I dare assume we are speaking both in English, so that perception of nasality might not be as great. You might hear sentences like, and I think I have this graph here. Yeah, let's go. You have sentences that have the sounds M as in my, N as in no, and ng as in sing, right? So mesmerizing has the M and the ng, and these are meant to happen, right? The sound is meant to go through the nose, but the sound can also go both out of the nose and the mouth at the same time. That is what creates a nasal sound. Well, it's more complex than that, because technically you could sound nasal by not using the nose when it's supposed to. For example, instead of saying mesmerizing melodies, you could say mesmerizing melodies. It sounds like my nose is all stuffy, right? Cannot say the M, the N, or the ng, because the nose is completely stuffed. So it depends what kind of nasality you're talking about. In your case, you seem to talk more about nasality, about hypernasality. So nasality that happens on sounds that are not meant to have it. For example, instead of saying calming or calming, you might say calming, 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 right? That sound instead of that sound, right? Like, that's cute versus calm, right? So this is kind of where you want to watch out for. Generally, we tend to hear nasality quite well on the sound, on the o sound, and on the sound. So becomes o becomes and becomes And so these are generally sounds you might want to work on. If you want to avoid nasality in your voice, you're generally going to want to maybe work on controlling that in the first place. So one exercise I like to do is switch between a B sound and an M sound. So b, because when you do the B sound, that little trap here, which we call the velum, closes to allow buildup of air in the mouth, right? Right? My cheeks puff out, and there's buildup of air. So I prevent the air to go through my nose. And then I can switch to an M sound, and the sound just goes through the nose, right? So, so what I like to do is build up air in my mouth and then release it through my nose all at once. This would be qualified as a nasal plosive. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's kind of like a way for you to
get a grasp on your vellum and get a grasp on nasality, trying to control it. So bat versus mat, basically. Bat, mat, bat, mat. You can also try these sentences. Mesmerizing melodies, and try to do on purpose mesmerizing melodies, and try to find that feeling at the back or roof of the mouth of that vellum closing or opening. Okay? I hope that answers your questions. So have fun exploring, and I hope you get nasality figured out. All right. Do we have another question? And then I'm going to be wrapping up. Okay. Maybe no questions. All right. Oh, do we have a question? No, I thought I saw someone jump. Okay. So then I guess we are ready to wrap up. All right, everyone, thank you so much for showing up today. I hope you learned a lot about all things voice related. Oh, before I do finish this, everyone, please say thanks to 1B and Rovi for helping me run this workshop as per usual. Thank you, 1B. Thank you, Rory. Woo! Yay! So we're so glad to have Rory back. She they were around. Okay. Rory had things to figure out. So, anyways, yeah. Say bye to Twitch, everyone. Bye, Twitch. Bye. All right. And now, I guess I'll be wrapping up this session. So, hey, if you enjoyed what you saw today, well, I teach lessons on my very own Discord server called Scientifically Augmented Voice. You can click on my bio in the vrchat directly, click on my avatar, and you can join my Discord server through there. We have a community of people interested in voice work, and yeah, we can do review of your clips if you want to send clip of your voice, but I also do public lessons over there, so Discord only lessons. You can listen to those for free if you want to learn more about your voice, and you're more than welcome to hop in and shadow these sessions to get even extra voice work for you to do. Anyways, I also teach public lessons, private lessons. If you want to send me a message on Discord, I'm here at savvy_sav, or you can find me on my server. Anyways, I'm going to do the end of the session blurble. My name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization,
Voice masculinization.
voice androgynization. I also teach stuff such as voice acting, singing, and human beatboxing with sounds such as... If you want to learn any of this, you can hit me up in Discord. So I hope y'all had a great session. I'll see you again on the next Sunday. Thank you again, 1B and Rory. And thank you all for showing up today. See you all on the next Sunday. Bye-bye.